There we go. Hi guys, so today's gonna be a pretty easy day. We're gonna do a review of something that we learned way back in September. This is converting decimals into percents and percents into decimals, okay? And this is a skill that I use all the time to this day, anytime I'm trying to figure out a percent of something, okay? So just as a quick review, when I am talking about, let's see, is that too high? No, okay. When I'm moving a decimal to a percent, okay, I have two different ways I can do this, okay? The first is that I can, and here's my example, all right? Let's say if I have a 0.32, that's my decimal, okay? So the first way is I can move my decimal 2 places to the right. Okay, so this is where I can mentally just be like, okay, here's my decimal. If I move it 2 places to the right, then 0.32 is going to become 32%. Okay. The other way that, because some students like this way, they like just mentally moving it. The other way would be if I took 0.32, okay, so this is way number 2, all right, and then I could multiply my decimal by 100, okay? So if you don't like the mental math one, you can just get your calculator out. I would take 0.32, I would multiply that by 100, and that would give me an answer of 32, and then I would just stick my percent sign on the end of that, okay? So I'll just give you a couple quick examples. Let's see, you should hopefully kind of remember how to do this, or hopefully that review just jogged your memory, okay? So really quick, I'm going to give you 3 decimals, all right? So for number 1, if I have 0.045, okay? Number 2, if I have, let's go with 0.88, and then for number 3, if I have 1.25, okay? So really quick, pause this video and see if you can figure out, this is what this would turn into, this is what this would turn into, this is what this would turn into as a percentage, okay? Do it. All right, so for number 1, all right, if I took 0.045 and multiplied it by 100, or if I just mentally moved my decimal, this would become 4.5%, okay? For number 2, 0.88 times 100, or if I mentally move this, this is going to become 88%, all right? And then this guy's kind of a weirdo, all right? But if I took 1.25 and multiplied it by 100, or mentally moved my decimal place 2 places to the right, I'm going to get the same answer, which is 125, and then I got to put my percent sign on the end of that, okay? So that's how I convert a decimal into a percentage, all right? So now I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to do the other way around, okay? And so if you kind of remember, all we do is the opposite of what we've been doing, okay? So let me recap it, right? So this time, if I have a percentage and I'm trying to change it into a decimal, okay? What I would do is I have my 2 different ways, okay? So if I have 0.32, just like before. My first way, last time I said you would move your decimal 2 places to the right. Oops, that's wrong. I have 32%. Sorry, okay. So if I start with my percentage, last time I moved my decimal 2 places to the right, now I'm going the other direction. So instead of moving it 2 places to the right, I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. Okay? So in this case, 32%. Anytime I have a regular number like this, I have an imaginary decimal, right? Like 32 is the same thing as 32.0. We just don't put 0.0 on the end of our regular numbers because we don't need to, right? So my imaginary decimal is at the end of this number. I just move it 2 places to the left, giving me 0.32. So 0.32 and 32%, okay? These are the same thing, all right? That's just written in different ways, okay? So that's how I can mentally do it. If you're like, Miss Forsty, the moving the decimal thing confuses me, that's okay, all right? The second way, if I have 32%, instead of moving my decimal, I can. So last time we were multiplying it by 100. This time, if we're going the other way around, we're going to divide by 100, okay? So if I took 32%, I would pretend that percentage isn't there. I would take 32, I would divide it by 100, and that would give me my decimal of 0.32, okay? So again, it doesn't matter which way you do this. You can just mentally move your decimal back and forth, or if that confuses you, you can divide your answer by 100. Okay, so 32%, 32 divided by 100, 0.32. Okay? So I'm going to put 3 more percentages on the board, okay? And I want you to convert it. So let's go with, how about for number 1, 7.33%, okay? For number 2, 15%. And number 3, let's go with 150%, okay? So pause this video right now, all right? And see if you can figure out, okay, what would each of these be as decimals, okay? All right. So for number 1, if I moved this 2 spaces to the left, all right, I would have a 0 in here, and this would become 0.0733. And you would have gotten the same answer if you had taken 7.33 and divided it by 100, okay? So that's my answer as a decimal. For 15%, that is going to become 0.15, all right? And I do that by moving the decimal or dividing it by 100. And then finally, for number 3, for 150%, my imaginary decimal is here, moving it 2 places. Or if I took 150 and divided it by 100, I would get 1.5. And you don't have to put a 0 on the end. You can if you want to. 1.5 is the same thing as 1.50, okay? And this is my bearded dragon, Earthling. All right. Well, I hope that helped you guys. And I will see you next time.